welcome to another episode of You First. That's right. I'm Shawanna Kennedy, your safe space to talk all things self-care, mental well-being, personal development, and empowerment. I hope you caught our first part, our part one, with the amazing, the incomparable Nita Carlisle. She is in here being vulnerable. She's being transparent. We've talked about a few things in this last episode. I need you to make sure that you go back and check out the part one. I don't want to delay because I want to get this young lady in here because now we're getting ready to talk about some things with her being an only child. Yes, she's the mother of two amazing sons, but she was an only child. And through that childhood, she experienced some things. And I know we're going to just dive into that and then see what's going on next with her because she has branched out now and she's a serialpreneur. So we want to discuss more of that. Won't you help me welcome back to the platform, Miss Nita Carlisle. Hey. Hello. Welcome back. Yes, I'm excited to have you back. Let's get back into it. I know we were talking about in part one, you got to check it out, guys. We were talking about the fact of she knows what it look and feel like to have been employed, worked for a company for several years. Right after receiving even an additional increase promotion, she then was laid off. So what that looked like is that she was then forced to then make herself a priority because she was so used to being there, as we all do, being there for others, that she was then forced to look at her own life and say, what's next? How about you, right? Saying what's next? What does that look like? And talking about what that meant for her children. Yes, they were glad to have mom at home. However, they were still used to some of the things she was doing. But now, because she stepped into the self-discovery and understanding the importance of self-discovery, to say, hey, I'm no longer going to do those things. You're going to have to do some figuring it out for yourself. And leading into her husband. Again, we applaud Mr. Carlisle for being a support system and for so many spouses who support their husbands, their wives through changes and being okay for us to know that we need to make ourselves a priority. I have to say it for the record. Never above your creator, because we know that it is in him we live, move, and have our being. However, he has made us a gift, and we have to remember to act like we are the prize that he has made us so that we can be of impact for the world. Welcome back again, Ms. Carlisle, Ms. Nita, to the platform. I want to know when we think about grief, because you mentioned right after being separated from your last place of employment, working for someone else. Now you work for yourself. You immediately thought about your dad because you said he had been gone 6 years now. Mm-hmm. And you thought about that because you're only child and because that was a person you would call for something this major, and no longer you realize I can't call him. So that then pushed you not only into grief of a job or separation from a job, but now the main person that you would want to call on the phone, he's not there.
Right.
So talk to us about grief. And then I want you to even lean in to talk a little bit about, if you don't mind, about your mom, because we didn't talk much about mom. I could tell you was a daddy's girl, if you don't mind sharing.
So for me, I grew up in a home with my mom. I am my dad's only child. And with my mom, I have a sister. We are 5 years apart. I raised my sister for the most part because, to be very transparent, both of my parents had drug addictions. That is actually how my dad met his demise. It was his habit. With my mother, I realized I was more tough on her. Like, I don't know, I guess it was the realization of the maternal part. You're supposed to be the one who's supposed to love me unconditionally. And coming up, I don't know how many people heard this in the homes, but it is a thing in Black homes, mama's baby, daddy's baby. It was never that situation with my dad. I am the only child. And to the point of me getting a shirt made for my dad. He has 2 grandsons, 1 daughter, 0 girlfriends. Ain't no girlfriend. Even still now, ain't no girlfriend. But with my mom, I was a lot harder on her. Within these past years, I'm learning to grant her grace. Learning to understand that she is the best parent that she knew how to be. And I actually, 2 years ago, apologized to her. Like, I want you to know, I'm sorry for anything that I put you through that may have pushed you even further into that sickness. I've never done drugs, so I didn't know how she felt. I didn't know how it felt to always be accused of stuff coming up missing, or always be held responsible because you gotta feed, make sure we eat, you gotta make sure that we're clothed, you gotta make sure that we're doing this, bills are paid. Until I stepped into my own, I didn't know how that felt. And then with my dad, he was my eraser. Anything that went wrong, he fixed it. That was my Superman. He fixed it. So I didn't know what a problem looked like. And I was so tough on her. And I had to tell her, like, I'm sorry. Like, now that I have my own, I apologize, because this parenting stuff, it does not come with a handbook. But putting myself first, even in that, my phone would ring. My mother calls me for everything. Even still, probably now at 2:59 p.m., my mother calls me for everything. She has a smartphone, but I am her Google. She'll call me, do you know what time the grocery store closed? Mom, I don't work there, I don't know. And I find myself snapping at her. And I think it's because I think she is learning to embrace this new relationship that we have. Right now, we are probably the closest we've ever been. We can get together, we laugh. If you follow me on social media, you know I'm always making a joke, pranking her about something. The one thing that has never changed, she is the pull-up queen. If I call her and tell her there's an issue with me or her grandson, she will pull up. I don't care what time it is, she will pull up. So I think that's her way of apologizing to me. It took me to go through a grief recovery course to understand how I got to be who I am and where I am at. I earned the nickname Sassy from the open mic poetry scene. You don't listen to nobody. You do what you want to do. You do it how you want to do. And that's just been my mentality, period. There's nothing that I cannot do that I'm not going to try to do. I might fail, might, stumble a little bit, but there's nothing that I cannot do. So being in a household with my mom, I got to see a little bit of her addiction hands-on, whereas my dad shielded me from it. I didn't know what the stuff was until I got a little bit older, and I'm like, oh, it's drugs. Like, wow. Me and my best friend have been friends for 30 years this year, and she's just learning some things about me. And she's like, I don't know how you still here. But I look at certain situations, grief being one of them, and it's like some stuff that I've been through, I have friends that I know could not handle just a little bit of what I've been through. And if me being able to share what I've been through and how I managed to get past will help somebody else, I'm here for that. What I learned about grief is it's a bully. It swings when it wants to. It picks, it pokes, it could be laughing with you at 1 minute, and the next thing you know, one song come on and you crying, or you don't want to be here no more, or you tired. Grief was like a reminder of me, like, okay. And then I realized that it's not just grief of losing someone. I was grieving over the loss of a job, the loss of responsibility, because although in my mind, I hate when people keep always asking me for stuff. I have a good heart, but I want to be the one to offer it. I don't want you to ask. So grief opened me up to the responsibility of like, well, who they gonna ask for stuff now? Who they gonna depend on now? Not understanding this was God's way of saying, you asked for a break. I didn't give it to you. Chill, go and get your break, and they'll have to figure it out with my kids, with my husband, with my family, especially with my mother, because even after my dad passed, a couple of months later, my mom had a situation where my aunt called screaming in the phone, and she like, they can't bring her back. And I'm like, who can't bring her back? What are you talking about? She goes on to tell me that my mom did something and they're trying to use Narcan to bring her back. I flipped out because it's like, how could you do this to me? I just went through this with my dad, and now how am I about to explain to my kids, your grandma done left up out of here the same way your dad did? They were able to bring her back. And me, her, and my sister had a conversation. And I told her, I said, all I can do is continue to pay for you and pray for you. I put her in insurance the same time I put my dad in insurance. The earlier part of 2015. I did not know, when talking to this man in February, asking him, how do you want to be buried? He said he didn't want to go in the ground. He said, don't put your money in the ground, use it on you and my boys. Cremate me. I did not know us having that conversation was speaking into fruition. And in May, literally the day he took my son, his first grandson, to go and pick up his cap and gown, would be the last day I saw my dad. He used to drive me off at work in my car, and I knew he had no license, but this my Superman. He not gonna get pulled over because my dad is the best driver. My cousin called me and said, you have to get to Cleveland Clinic. Your dad been in an accident. the daddy's girl in me. Who hit my daddy? Because I know he ain't got in no accident. Who hit my daddy? It did not hit me until I got to the hospital and I'm literally looking down at this man's face. The one thing I can say is he did not suffer. He looked like he literally was taking a nap. I've never put my hands on him or been disrespectful, but I definitely popped him in his head and was like, for real? How am I about to explain to your grandson, your grandpa not here? And my dad was everything for me. So with my boys, they're more close to my dad than they were their own father. My youngest son was at school telling people his father died. And they like, oh, I'm so sorry to hear about your husband. I'm like, what about my husband? They like, he said his father died. I said, I mean, my daddy died, not his father, but that was the relationship that they had. So still, even with that, working with my mother, and I told her, out of all of this, I don't want you to apologize for getting high. I don't want you to apologize for what you did to me and my sister. All I want you to do is be honest, be intentional, tell the truth, and hold yourself accountable. If you messed up the money, you messed up the money. If you ain't got the real money, you don't got the real money. But be honest with me. Please don't lie to me. I don't like to be lied to. Please don't lie. And I'm just telling her, like, we don't really have, it was kind of like she turned it into her. And I'm like, we both have to remove ourselves out of the situation and look at the bigger picture. Do you want to be here with us or not? All I'm asking you is to let me know. Let's sit down, let's make some arrangements. You got friends leaving up out of here faster than these planes going in the sky. What are you going to do? Because it's a lot of responsibility on me as the oldest child. I am the oldest child on both sides. I'm the oldest grandchild on both sides. I'm the first grandchild on both sides. So it's like a lot of responsibility. I'm like, give me a break. Like, so when people say I need help raising my parents, I take that serious because I need help raising her. Like, she hard-headed. And it made me look at a lot of things. So I do a lot of self-checking now, because if I see certain qualities in people that I don't like, I check myself to make sure I'm either not doing it or don't do it anymore. I self-check a lot, because coming from the work environment where I was a mean girl, and that ain't even me. I'd rather make you laugh, and all. I saw myself being a mean girl. And for some people, it was, oh, let's go do this. Let's go talk about this person. And sometimes I would be the ringleader because they consider me to be the comedian. I'm the funniest. But then when I sat back and I got to thinking about it, I said, it's something in me I'm not happy about that's making me take delight in hurting y'all. And that doesn't work for me. That doesn't work for me. So I've been working on that a whole lot. And it used to bother me when people used to be like, oh, I see you change. I used to be like, whatever. But now it makes me feel good because they're noticing. Like,
yeah, you should be like, when people would say that, be like, oh, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because the hope is that we do get better. The hope is that we evolve. The hope is that we grow. Because if we're still the same, then you really dying slow. You have to be willing to grow and evolve and want more and to be better. So I have to applaud you for seeing that and recognizing it, because if we're not willing to confront certain things about us, then we cannot fix them.
Exactly.
You have to give it a name. I love it's not good that, but if you recognize what it was, you said mean girl, and that is real. Someone know what that feels like to not only have been a mean girl or be a mean girl, but to be even on the other side of someone doing that. And so for you to know that right now, up and through here, you recognize certain things about yourself and you're addressing them and you're getting the help that you need. That's exciting. That's exciting because it's you're figuring this stuff out now sooner than later, so that your latter years will be greater because of the things that you've gone through. Matter of fact, it will make you a better witness and testimony to say, I know what that feels like. I've been that person. Because one of the things we'll learn when we make ourselves a priority and be the encourager, right? Be the confident friend. It's nobody wants to really hear from a person whose life seemed to be all put together.
Exactly.
They really don't, because it's like, well, then you don't know my story. You don't know my struggle. You haven't gone through anything. So really, how can you speak to me? That's why I love that you being transparent and vulnerable about the different things. Yes, being a mother, being a spouse, knowing what it feels like to have worked for somebody else, knowing what it feels like now to even go into being an entrepreneur. All of those things are things that you can have different conversations with other people to say, I've been there, I've done that, I'm doing that, and I am growing, I'm liking it. Yes. Am I nervous? Am I scared? But I'm going to do it anyway. Thinking about that too, with you now saying, you know what, I'm leaning in. I have done some things, certifications, LLCs, done all the things. Now I'm leaning in that. How does that feel knowing that you're now in this self-discovery age to say, I've crossed this line to where I'm okay to start working for myself. What does that look like? And do you neglect yourself? Because now I know, being a witness, when we decide to pick that torch up to say CEO, to say entrepreneur, we will work more hours building our own than we ever did punching somebody else's clock. So because now you're in the self-discovery, you're taking the sessions, you're getting the help that you need, the conversations you need to have. What does that look like for you now as you're building your business?
Right now, I am extremely excited. I am going back to work on the 21st, but this is something very new for me. It's community-based, which I absolutely love. I am a very resourceful person, and I feel like this is the change for me. I've turned down several good paying positions. And at this last interview, I was very transparent with the interviewers, and I let them know that right now I am in a period of humility and appreciation. I feel like he took me through everything to make me appreciate it when it comes back around and understand that what some people look at as a struggle or a stress, I feel like he said, if you can make it with this $425 a week, you can make it with anything, because nothing ever stops. And baby, like I'm talking about, that little unemployment check look like mustard seed. So I just feel like this is right now is the time. Like I wasn't supposed to go back to work in August. I wasn't supposed to go back in September. I was supposed to have these very good interviews while I'm at home. Like, oh, the interview went good, I should be starting, and not get a call back. What this period in my life has shown me is, why not me? Who do you think you are to have 7 days in 1 week and not have a problem at least one of those days? Who are you? You ain't nobody. You somebody, but you ain't nobody. So once I started realizing that, and the main thing I had to do was get out of my way, because sometimes your mouth, your actions can talk you right up out of a situation, right up out of a position. And I feel like those jobs that I interviewed for that I did not get was just experience for me to take to this next level. And when I start work, I like literally the supervisor is like, well, your weekends are yours. She's like, because I heard you say you've been with a position that I had planned to take before this, they kept changing the start date. And I'm like, okay, my best friend said, delayed don't mean denied. She was like, but what did you say this spirit of your life is? She's like, this time right now is divine. Everything is lining up. I said, there was a councilman I met before I left that job in May. I did a resource event and I met a councilman. He is a councilman for like the 40th area down the way is how he put it. And I told him then, I said, don't be surprised. I mess around be at your office. I said, I'm gonna come work with you. He like, come on. He like, I've been watching you work this table. He like, you know what you're doing. The position that I am taking, his office is in that building. So when I left my interview, we got to talking, and he said, I met you before. He brought up who I work for, and I said, He was like, you know what? He was like, that's so crazy. He said, because I remember telling my secretary, her personality, her light is too bright for them. They don't appreciate that. And then they showed me just how much they appreciate me, because they put the hard stuff that I asked, like, hey, I'll do this, I'll do that. Oh no. But then when it started to fail, oh, give it to Nita. She can fix it. She'll do that. And when I started demanding my respect, because I respect your position as my supervisor, but I'm also grown. I'm not a child. I have children. I'm an excellent leader, but I'm also a good follower, because I know to be able to be a good leader, I have to follow. I need you to give me something to follow. Maybe I shouldn't have said it that way, but that's how it came out. And I kept telling, like, when you keep telling me to trust you, it makes me not trust you. Show me why I should trust you. Don't tell me, because you just said, trust me, your job is safe. And then August came. So it was like, okay, all right, I get this. So literally before I get out the bed in the morning and before I go to sleep at night, and fall asleep playing Candy Crush when the phone busts me in my head. I have a conversation with God, and I just keep thanking Him for choosing me for anything that I went through, choosing me to be able to share. Like I said, I speak with the girl. She ain't little, she's 19, but I speak with her every day, and just knowing that she's receptive to me speaking life in her, I feel like I've done my part, because the only thing that kept her from going to the lake is the traffic would not let her over. To hear her say that out of her mouth, like, wait a minute, like, we can't have that. And literally that day, I had just went down to the lake, me and my cousin, for a coaching session. I'm coaching him, and he actually ended up coaching me, and we helped each other. He invited me to ghetto therapy, and I've been going ever since. So I tell her, like, it was divine. It was meant for us to meet each other, because if I didn't come, you probably would have took that right turn. I would have heard about you on the news or the remembrance page, but yet here you are, and you keep showing up. You keep showing up. So I'm happy for you. If nobody else has told you, you are enough. You are needed. Keep going. I said, because I've needed somebody to speak that into me, and she does that daily. We share a song in the morning. We share a few words of encouragement and check in throughout the day. My own blood family is not doing that. So I appreciate that. Everybody needs that person. And like, not a shameless plug to say, y'all go ahead and follow me on social media, because trust me, my page is just like my playlist. My music goes from track to church every day. So my page, like, it's just me. I like to laugh. I like to be silly. And people say, well, why you ain't at the Improv? Because if y'all do not laugh, I'm coming off that stage and I'm swinging. So yeah, that's the only reason why.
Don't hurt nobody. Don't hurt nobody. Because I know I did. One of the funny things that I recently saw, you were in some clothing store, and I know I could have sworn that I saw a bunch of undergarments, and so much so that
at the one
was actually on your head, and then I had to take a double look. You have to make sure that you are actually following this amazing young lady, young lady, Miss Romanita Carlisle. Like I said again, on social media, on Facebook, she is actually Haynesworth, but you know, we give respect to Mr. Carlisle. We want to thank you for being our amazing guest on You First. I want you to know, and I've got to ask you one more question before I get you and get them out of here. When you think about putting yourself first and putting you back on top of the to-do list, what is one word, if you had to find one word that could bring you back, what would that word be?
Resilient. Something that I never thought about myself ever. I am resilient.
I love it. 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 Miss Carlisle, don't you go nowhere. Let me get them out of here. Don't you go nowhere. Let me get them out of here. Out of here. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, don't go nowhere. Let me get them out of here. Oh my goodness. Was she not amazing? Make sure you are following her again, Miss Romanita Haynesworth, on social media. But we respect the name of Carlisle. She's amazing. Sharing her life, telling her truth, being vulnerable, things that you have to be okay to. Stop tripping, because there is greater for you on the other side of going through what you're meant to go through, right? I say that God doesn't cause a lot of the things that actually happen, but he does allow certain things, because some stuff that we go through, it has nothing to do for us. It's about somebody else that needs us and the experience that we've gone through, so we can be there to have that conversation. Her saying that she's like a big sis, an auntie, to help another young lady to not end her life, and where they now even have that close relationship where you can be that phone call for someone. Like I said, being able to be a witness and to help somebody, that could be you, right? So remember, it is imperative that you make yourself a priority, not an option. Do something today that your future self will thank you for. You already know that I appreciate you for tuning in, tapping into me, You First, because it's all things about you, and you. Follow me on all social media platforms. Yes, don't be ashamed to hit that notification bell and to subscribe. I would love to see you, conversate with you. DM me what questions you may have, people that you may even want to see right here on the show. Matter of fact, you might be my very next guest. I want you to know that I appreciate you, and I will see you again next time. Bye for now. This episode is brought to you by Kennedy Media and Entertainment, your premier video productions and digital visibility partner. Working with business owners just like you to be seen, heard, and paid by elevating your brand with high-impact video content, online visibility strategies, and expert social media management. Ready to stand out in your industry, on and off camera? Contact Kennedy Media today, and let's turn your message into a movement. Because visibility isn't optional, it's essential. Contact KennedyMediaLLC.com, KennedyMediaLLC.com, and let's boost your brand's visibility. It's time for you to be seen, heard, and known for your expertise. Contact us today.